This is my second battle report. This time I only took stills. This is between my 82nd Airborne versus my friend Matt's Russian Strelkovy, who played 1,200 points with an airborne drop. Here's his table where there's a town on one side. It's pretty open in the middle with a bunch of roads, and there's some trees down at the bottom. And then all the way in the back is a tower. He had to place his guys first, and I believe they were considered pinned, and he had some reserves, as so did I. Here is where he placed most of his guys. They were surrounding the objectives, and of course I pulled one, which is why that one is missing. And I placed my Pathfinder in the corner behind the tower. Now, I placed my first platoon, which was the large platoon, and attached everything that I possibly could. Of course, I had the hero, Cook, I believe his name was, and had my mortars set up so that they can support with his special move of being able to smoke and bombard at the same time. He had a Strelkovy company, just one platoon strong in this area, and I decided since I only need to take one of the objectives, then I would just go all out for this one. I placed my Pathfinder in this area, so hopefully some of my reserves would end up in this area. Now, I believe I was fortunate because I placed the Pathfinder in this corner, and almost my entire army showed up in that corner that I wanted them to go up. So I had my big platoon, my first platoon, my second platoon, which was a smaller platoon, the mortars, all my headquarters and everything that was attached to the first platoon, and so I was able to basically just go right after his force right there on that first objective. He has some guys up on the hill, but I massively outnumber him with really good troops. Now this side of the board, he sees what I'm doing. He doesn't have that objective in the middle of the board. The other objective is being covered by his heavy machine guns. So he sent his second platoon to try to help out his first platoon. He didn't move them at the double, which I thought was a little off, but they were on their way. He didn't want to get shot up, I guess. I was very fortunate. My final platoon arrived in the second turn. I was unfortunate, however, that they showed up on the other side, but it kind of worked out because it forced him to realize, well, you know, there's another platoon, and I'm going to have to defend and hold my guys on the other side so that he doesn't sneak around with this one little platoon and take another objective. Now, I was planning on going through the buildings, and here's an overview. I was planning on moving to the left and getting through the town. Here's one of the die rolls. I love these dice. I am going to use them in tournaments whenever I go, so if I'm playing the Germans or something, you see me break out the 29th Infantry Division dice. They are awesome. I usually roll terrible, but with these dice, man, they're just terrific. So those die rolls had to do with this assault here. I went after him, I shot him up, and took out some guys and just assaulted with that first platoon with Cook, and they absolutely tore his first platoon apart. He tried to fight back, but it was a lost cause. I mean, it probably should have broken off because I just had a terrific platoon. He's confident trained, and I'm fearless veteran, and I wasn't going to back off. So finally his guys started breaking, and I would just keep assaulting him. He did weaken me with that first one, and I was considering holding off, you know, just consolidating around that and just digging in and waiting for his guys and beat them up. So that was my decision, stay there or push ahead. Now, unfortunately, his reserves showed up. First, his mortars showed up. They really didn't do very much, but his T-34 showed up right next to my 3rd platoon, which was unfortunate at first, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. And one of his guys bogged down immediately, so he had 4. And I decided that the only way for them to survive is to just go ahead and attack. I mean, they got gammon bombs. American Airborne Fearless Vat, they might be able to do something, so at least make them run away and kill that bog down. Now, I know I didn't really show it well here, but basically a 2nd platoon came in. I decided to just go after him with my 1st platoon, even though it was severely weakened, and just let them go at it, and then let the 2nd platoon just dig in and wait for any kind of counterattack. So my 3rd platoon went after them. They were able to bail another tank out, and he just couldn't get him back in, but those 3 remaining tanks just started beating up my 3rd platoon. They got whittled down, and they just couldn't get him to run away. Meanwhile, by destroying all the infantry, all I had to do was dig in and wait for reserves, and he decided just to bomb me and bomb me and bomb me. I mean, it was brutal how many planes came in and hit them, because that's all he had left. And the 3rd platoon, of course, got completely wiped, and he started running off, but they delayed them long enough, so they were all on the other side of the table, and I was able to hold out against whatever reserves he had left. There was just not much that he can do. We learned later, unfortunately, that he thought he couldn't move if he had a bogged down or bailed out vehicle, and that the whole platoon had to stay. I couldn't leave him behind. We discussed it probably would have been a good move for his guys just to leave that bogged down guy there, even the bailed out guy, let me destroy them, and then take the 3 good tanks and go and try to contest the objective all the way on the other side. He didn't know that. I don't know if he could have gotten there in time. It was very far, and the game was already pretty far along. And the machine guns and the mortars had the other objective pretty well covered, especially after my platoon got depleted. So chalk that up to learning, and he is a good player, and I look forward to playing against him real soon.